Hey guys, I'm back with another review. This time it's the Autistic Burnout Workbook. And I would be amiss if I didn't also include Autistic Burnout Recovery, the audiobook version, in this review. I did recently finish the audiobook version, Autistic Burnout Recovery. Both of these are by Dr. Megan Anna Neff. It was really well done. The audiobook provides a lot of great insights, a lot of recommendations, stuff like that. The narrator um, did very well. Uh, I know there are a lot of narrators out there that I can't really handle listening to for an extended period of time. Sometimes I can't even stand listening to them narrate for a few minutes. But this narrator was very good. Um, it was narrated by Anna Caputo. She's done quite a few other audiobooks I've listened to on Audible. Um, the Autistic Burnout Recovery is available on Audible. I'm not sure if it's available on other sites as well. Um, but it is definitely on Audible. I managed to get it with one of my monthly credits. And I think it's only like 3 hours long, 3.5 hours long, something like that. Um, and then we have the Autistic Burnout Workbook, your guide to your personal recovery plan with guidance on sensory self-care, masking, spoon theory, nervous system regulation, and more. Now, I haven't fully read this book um, yet. I got it about a month ago. And immediately I took it to work with me at my practicum intern site. Um, and I've been using it in a clinical setting um, because I do see many, well, not many, I see a few um, undiagnosed autistic adults. Um, and so I wanted to have, workbooks there. Being a late diagnosed autistic adult myself, um, I am still learning when it comes to uh, working with autistic burnout, meltdowns, shutdowns, stuff like that. Um, and I'll always be learning. I don't feel there are any experts in any field whatsoever. I live by the motto that expertise does not exist. The only expert on a subject is the subject itself. Because knowledge and information are ever changing, ever growing. Research is constantly evolving. Um, but the way this is written out is very well done. Recently, I did make copies of a couple of the exercises in here for some of my clients just to get them started and everything. I don't make copies of entire books. I only exercises. Um, I have other books like the DBT skills workbooks for anger, for anxiety, for psychosis, stuff like that. I do the same thing with, and maybe I'll review those on here someday. But this is very well put together. As you can see, the way it's laid out, it's almost like a graphic novel in a way. It's very visually stimulating, very easy to follow, which helps. As an autistic, um, the way I process information, it can be difficult reading a text style book. Um, I haven't I haven't purchased a single university textbook in my grad program for a few quarters now, simply because I don't use them, because I don't retain the information in them, because it's not presented in a way that um, I can process. When it comes to other books, like books that get my imagination going and stuff, I can very easily follow those. But when it's very dry, when it's just information on top of information on top of information with no real personality into it or anything like that, I do have a hard time processing it, of following it, and of retaining it. So I tend to rely a lot on videos to supplement my learning experience. And that's why this book is so great, because it's visually stimulating. It goes into spoon theory here, um, which it also talks about in the autism or autistic burnout recovery, the audiobook. One thing I thought was really great was how well explained spoon theory was, in that it talks about how we have a different amount of spoons for different activities. So for something you enjoy, like your special interest, you could have more spoons available to you than, say, for something that you don't enjoy or that doesn't stimulate you the right way or whatever. Um, with something like that, you may have fewer spoons available to you. It was really well done. And similarly, this book is very well done. Um, Here it talks about reduce your sensory load. And I'll read this page to you. To turn down the pace of your faucet, you can also make sensory adjustments. Swap out bright light fixtures, create a sensory detox space, use sensory tools like weighted blankets or noise blockers, and remove irritants like perfumes and chemical smells from your living space. These seemingly small changes can make a big difference in burnout. Your sensory system is heightened, so reducing unnecessary sensory input is important. Sensory detox. Allocate dedicated quiet time and sensory detox periods. Many autistic people find it essential to be physically alone to achieve full relaxation. How do you like to detox from sensory input? Reflect on your preferences here. Limit sensory input. Create a sensory-friendly environment by reducing noise, lights, or other sensory triggers. Identify sensory irritants, like perfumes or other chemicals, in your home. In the space provided, track the inputs that tend to bother you when you feel burned out. Use sensory blockers. Use sensory blockers like sunglasses, sound blockers, or compression clothing to reduce sensory input when navigating high sensory environments. Jot down here the blockers you prefer. And it just goes on and on. Um, yeah, it's a really well done book. I really like it. Um, and again, I really like the audiobook. Um, I find them both very useful in helping to not just helping myself, but helping my autistic clients. Um, not just in understanding themselves, which I am very good at. I am very good with helping autistics understand themselves and why they experience the things they do, especially if they're undiagnosed or late diagnosed, like myself. But one thing that I do struggle with is helping them find ways of coming out of that burnout, of what to do when they're overstimulated, what to do when they're on the verge of shutdown, meltdown, whatever, because I often find myself in those situations. And so I've used other techniques that I've used with non-autistic clients, holistic clients, um, to help And they do to an extent, but I think there's really something to say about um, treatment that comes from a neurodivergent affirming approach that I really enjoy, that I really take to heart. Um, so just reading the back, this includes downloadable forms for easy editing and tracking, strategies and exercises to overcome autistic burnout. Feeling burned out, struggling to cope, you're not alone. When you're autistic, it's easy to feel drained and overwhelmed. Dr. Megan Anna Neff's The Autistic Burnout Workbook is here to empower you to take charge of your well-being. Inside, you'll discover pages rich in visuals to help you digest information, even during periods of burnout. You'll learn to identify triggers, manage sensory overload, and build resilience. Plus, you'll develop a personal recovery plan that focuses on practical steps you can take to cultivate agency, work with your body, and find ways to heal from burnout. Written by neurodivergent clinician and advocate Dr. Megan Anna Neff, this workbook helps you navigate the unique challenges of autistic burnout. Find ways to regulate your nervous system, support your sensory system, manage limited energy reserves, and more with the Autistic Burnout Workbook. And then it gives a bio of the author. Dr. Megan Anna Neff is a neurodivergent, autistic, and ADHD clinical psychologist, researcher, writer, and parent. She works primarily with late diagnosed autistic and ADHD adults, creating mental health and wellness resources tailored to the unique needs of the neurodivergent community. After becoming an accidental content creator, she discovered the power of digital platforms to foster connection and is passionate about cultivating a sense of belonging for neurodivergent individuals who often feel marginalized or misunderstood. As a podcast host and community builder, she regularly reflects on what it means to be human and a helper and how we can show up for one another in meaningful, compassionate ways. Uh, so you can go to simonandschuster.com to meet the authors, watch videos, and more. But yeah, like I said, this is a very well done graphic. I don't want to say novel, but um, just a guidebook, I guess. Workbook, yeah. Um, but I wish more books would be done in this style format for those of us who are autistic, who may have trouble with processing written information when it's really dry, when there's not a lot of personality behind it, when it's just completely informative. Um, so yeah, I recommend giving this a read. Um, and maybe if you're not sure about the spending the money on this, maybe going to Audible and getting the audiobook and listening to it and see if you connect with it. Um, I bought this on Amazon. Let me see. Can't remember how much I spent for on it, but let's see. Okay, so I did buy it a little over a month ago. I bought it back on March 27th of this year. Um, and it is currently 7% off on Amazon, uh, at $17.66. So not a bad price. Um, and it actually looks like it was published right before I bought it, so that's cool too. It's 240 pages, so it's not a heavy read. And regardless, most of it is graphics anyway. Um, and again, really easy to follow. Uh, yeah, give it a try.